Hi, Moglets. Today we're taking a look at the version 3.5 special program. Gonna give some quick thoughts on it as we usually do. I gotta say the introductory track for Dehya here is amazing. Super heavy metal vibes, I dig it. We'll also have another new character coming this patch I haven't really seen much on at all. I don't know if he's actually been in the game yet, possibly in some side quests I haven't done yet. The trailer as a whole was nice, but quite a bit shorter than usual. So we're starting straight off talking about Dehya, the new playable character. I'm glad she did end up being a playable character. While I was going through the Archon quest, I was assuming she wouldn't be a playable character, which made me kind of sad, but here she is. I like how one of her idle animations is doing her makeup. So of course, moving on to her kit, there doesn't appear to be anything intrinsically special about her basic attack. She does use a claymore, so she attacks a little bit slower than most other characters. Her elemental skill does sound very interesting though. She creates what appears to be a pretty large area, and if there are any opponents inside this area and those opponents take damage, the area will do a coordinated attack, applying them with pyro. So she is potentially off-field pyro, which we are kind of lacking on in my opinion. We have Shanling, which is great, Toma, which is less great. She is pretty special though, because she does this with her elemental skill, whereas Toma and Shanling require their bursts. What may be most important is the duration and the cooldown of the skill. If you can have it at most of the time, it could be definitely an interesting thing for what they show here as an example, Melt Ganyu. Another probably somewhat overlooked thing is that characters in here have their resistance to interruption increased, as well as the fact that Dehya will be sharing damage even when she's off field. So possibly you could get away with not having like a Zhongli with a Ganyu, for example. Of course, this will depend on how much your resistance to interruption is increased. Like if a Ruin Guard jumps on you, I assume you're still gonna go flying backwards. Her burst seems honestly perfect for me. I've mentioned several times I'm not a huge fan of Claymore users because they attack slow, but in her burst state, she just throws the Claymore away. And she enters the Blazing Lioness state. Basically, she turns into a firefighter in the most literal sense, whereas she's literally punching with fire fists. It honestly doesn't seem like it lasts very long, which is probably a good thing. At the moment, I think of Dehya as more of a support and buffer than a main DPS. Having some quick DPS with her burst, I think is always a good thing, as long as it's not like Cyno's burst where it lasts way too long. I usually don't talk about exploration passives unless they're interesting, and hers is pretty interesting. So during daytime, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., everyone will run faster. It is a little hard to tell by how much in this clip they shared, but I'll probably do some testing and some side-by-sides on my own when she is released. They didn't really go into detail on her other passives, but they did mention that one of them will help her with HP recovery because of the fact she shares damage when she's off field. So most likely some sort of self-sustain. As for the other passive, they just never really touch on it. Overall though, she does sound like an interesting character. I've heard her compared to Xinyan, which doesn't really make sense to me. I've also heard her compared to Bennett. They didn't mention any other sort of buffs, but that could definitely have something to do with her passives, or possibly just some abilities that the host didn't touch on here. The use case I would imagine for her right now is off-field pyro above everything else, and possibly in some scenarios being able to get away with like not using Zhongli with Ganyu. Other than that though, I'm going to be pulling for her, building her, trying her out, going way more in depth, of course. First impressions wise though, yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to trying her out. It's funny that I mentioned Cyno because he will be alongside Dehya once 3.5 drops. It's so weird that he's getting a rerun already. I feel like it's way too soon, but maybe my sense of time is just messed up. I don't know. Oh, that's weird. So Dehya will be a standard banner character starting in version 3.6. I did not see that coming because we already have Diluc as the pyro standard. Like Tignari was clear because Dendro and it's a new element, and we didn't have a Dendro 5-star, but why Dehya? That's bizarre. Maybe they're just trying to not have too many exclusive banners. I'm not sure. Obviously a new Claymore in the same style as a lot of the Sumeru weapons we've had already will of course be Dehya's signature weapon. Also a Faruzan Hangout event. Usually they would talk about the, I guess, 4-star new Archon quest, Kari Bear. Couple of new enemies here as well. They both look pretty insane. The Abyss Heralds are always pretty scary. And then this humanoid Ruin Guard looking dude called the Black Serpent Knight.
Forgetting something or someone?
That's what I was just thinking. Oh, a new Mondstadt character. Let's go. Yeah, Mika. I've like literally never seen this dude ever. I don't know. Maybe I just missed him somewhere. Okay, maybe it was like super early. So I guess he has been in the game before, but it's been a while. A young member rising through the ranks of the Knights of Favonius. Apparently he read the Grandmaster's letter during Vine Lisa Fest. If I'm totally honest, I don't remember any of that. Okay, he appears to be one of those like analytic nerds. He definitely looks the part. Right off the bat, he is very unique because he uses a polearm as well as a crossbow. I thought at first this crossbow would be mostly just like aesthetic, like at the end of his polearm combo or something. something, but it seems like he actually has an aiming mode as well. I mean, with his basic attack, as you can see here, that is pretty much all it is. Maybe it will increase the range a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be that useful regardless. His elemental skill is a buffing skill. Interestingly, it'll buff characters' attack speed. And if it hits multiple opponents, it will increase physical damage. His burst is also pretty interesting. So it's first of all team-wide healing, but then it also applies a special effect to everyone that basically gives them lifesteal. So as your other characters are attacking opponents with this special buff, they'll gradually recover HP. So yeah, buffer slash healer. It is interesting that he increases physical damage. I'm wondering if at C6 he could be like Goro is to Geo teams, but for physical teams. Though it does say down here when his elemental skill hits multiple opponents, then they'll get the physical damage bonus. Maybe a constellation or something will help with that so you get both bonuses regardless. Oh no. Mika is only going to be alongside Ayaka or Shinha. I like Ayaka. I don't like Shinha very much just because she is way too niche for my tastes. I also don't really use Ayaka too often, so that's a bit of a pain. So with the characters and banners done, it's mainly just going to be events from here. The main event will be the Wind Bloom's Breath. Got a pretty fancy looking event exclusive claymore there, the Mailed Flower, alongside the typical rewards, you know, a crown. This event will feature 3 different types of content. Here we have Floral Pursuit. It's basically a coin collecting challenge, but with balloons instead. Ah, cool. We get like the drum along back. You can choose which instrument you want to play, but I don't think that actually changes the gameplay, just the sound. And then Breezy Snapshots, which is another photo taking event. Not the hugest fan of these, honestly. They're just a little bit for me. Next event, Spices from the West, Northerly Search. This one is pretty similar to a somewhat recent event we've had. It was pretty nice. It was a very quick event as far as I remember. That is, if you already have all the ingredients. It's basically a little timing game. You have to add the ingredients in the right order as a needle goes back and forth. It's a pretty nice, simple little mini game. I kind of like it actually. Fungus Mechanicus. I think this is a similar event to one we've had before as well. Is this like the Fungus Among Us meets Theater Mechanicus Tower Defense? Yep, it is. Okay, but we're the enemies this time, destroying the Mechanici that I guess an AI is placing. You can somewhat control your fungus and tell them to attack a certain target. Otherwise, seems somewhat simple. Vibro Crystal Verification also sounds very familiar. Yes, this is an event we've had before. You basically link buffs together to get better buffs and then fight some enemies. Leyline Overflow again, double leyline rewards, always cool. A limited time heated battle mode in Genius Invocation. Something to do with reducing the cost of doing actions. I never really got into Genius Invocation TCG, and I can't imagine I will be getting into it, so this part kind of I don't care about too much. Oh, that's cool. So we're going to be getting additional rewards for completing Archon quests in this extra little tab here, and I'm pretty sure every Archon quest we have completed up until this point will award us with all those rewards as well. So possibly a free 10 pull when the game updates. And yeah, that was pretty much it for Genshin Impact version 3.5 special program. Again, I think Dehya looks really interesting. Mika's gonna be a bit of a pain in the ass to actually get because he's on banners I'm not too interested in. So I'm probably just gonna get like one and dip out of there. But yeah, make sure to tell me what you think in the comments down below. Dropping a like or subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.